It's time for the Xfinity Series to qualify for this afternoon's Zippo 200 here at the Glen. Welcome to NBCSN's coverage from Watkins Glen International in upstate New York. It is time to see who has the speed. Hi, folks. Leigh Diffey standing in for Rick Allen this weekend, along with Kyle Petty. Ready to go. Looking forward to this one. Listen, for as much as you've done and seen in NASCAR, coming back to the Glen each and every year is just magic.
It is magic. This is a great place. There's so much racing history here. Formula One, Indy cars, sports cars. And then when the Cup cars have been here in the 50s, came back in the early 60s for a couple of years. When they finally came back here to stay, it has been a fun place for us. I always loved coming here, so I enjoy coming back and watching these guys.
Not too many tracks around the world where you can say the best in Formula One and the best in NASCAR competed on the same racing venue. And speaking of competing, here we bring you up to speed with the points, the playoff standings in the Xfinity Series. This is race 20 of 33. The playoffs are looming. What grabs your attention there?
You know, really what grabs my attention is how close the bubble is as we get back here. You know, 35, 32, 14 points in when we look at Blake Cook and Michael Annett and Brendan Gaughan. And then J.J. Yaley and Ryan Sieg just outside, Ross Chastain just outside. One race with these bonus points, with the way things work, you can make or break and catch up a lot in these. So this is what catches me right now. It's still that close.
And look, there's 7 to go until the playoffs. Guys like the 4 of Ross Chastain, he's had a string of top 20 results. He's saying, look, I'm still in playoff contention. So it's far from over, and reminding you of how this multi-phase qualifying format goes down. 25 minutes in round 1, and the fastest 12 will advance. And then we have 10 minutes to determine who will sit on the pole. Will it be Joey Logano? Oh, and by the way, if you haven't heard, this field is stacked with Cup regulars. It is going to be on here at the Glen, and it all starts right now with qualifying here on NBCSN, your home of motorsport. We'll come back to the Glen in just a moment. NASCAR is on NBCSN at Watkins Glen, and today the Xfinity Series presented by Shell Rotella. Race coverage begins at 2 p.m. Eastern, and tomorrow Monster Energy Cup Series racing right here from the Glen, and that starts at 3. Hope you can be with us for both, because it's always entertaining racing here at Watkins Glen. And we've got something a little different for you later this afternoon for the Xfinity Series race. Myself and NBC's crew chief, Steve Letarte, will be in the booth just on the main straight, right above the start-finish line. Over in the S's is MRN Radio's and Sirius XM Channel 90 NASCAR man Mike Bagley, and that's where the bagman will be, right there on the lower level. You just heard him during Monster Energy Cup Series practice, enjoying that view and bringing us some unique perspective. A little further around the 2.5-mile track is Parker Kligerman, and Parker is nicely nestled right there on the lower level as well, getting a really good view of the carousel and who is doing what coming out of the inner loop and heading into the carousel. It's a pretty good view from there. And then around to turn 6, which is always a hot spot with drivers running wide and races have been won and lost in this position, is the Mayor, Jeff Burton. What do you make of all of that, Kyle Petty?
It's been exciting, watching and listening. And listen, what I like about it is we on NBC are using the same locations that the teams have used for spotters throughout the year to move the years to move people around, because you get a feel for what's going on in that corner. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in that corner. In the last 2 corners where Jeff Burton's in charge of, he may be talking more during this Cup stuff than any other time.
And I think it's been kind of cool too, because Jeff has really enjoyed being out there. He's like, he just said it in the final practice. He's like, I kind of feel like a spotter.
Yeah, and you do. You do, because you see the cars coming at you, and especially from Jeff's location, from Parker's location, you see the cars coming at you, and you see them going away from you. There's so many blind spots in this racetrack. I heard you earlier on the broadcast talk about how Ricky Rudd talked about how fast it felt to run up through the S's here and up through the top.
Yeah.
That is one of the fastest places, feel-wise, of any racetrack we run. You can talk about 212 or 14 miles an hour at Michigan, going off in the corner, going up through the S's here, and grabbing another gear is incredibly fast.
Here is a young man, speaking of fast, he's on a fast route to the top. Cole Custer has been very impressive in his debut season in NASCAR Xfinity Series racing. He's in the 00 Haas machine. I spoke to him yesterday. He's been very diligent about being a better road course racer. Of course, he was involved in that spectacular and quite controversial finish at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in Canada last year in the Camping World Truck Series. That was very exciting. But he said, look, I've been doing as much as I can, whether it be iRacing, on the simulator that I get access to. Also, Ron Fellows has been helping him out. You know, Ron is actually, you know, road course legend in his own right, sports car legend. He's helped a lot of these young guys just fine-tune their skills on road courses.
Yeah, and especially here in the Xfinity Series. 3 of their next 4 races are on road courses. Remember, the Cup guys run Sonoma, and I still call it Sears Point. Sorry, Sonoma. And then we come here to Watkins Glen, and that's it for the year. But these guys run a few more races, obviously. And here's what I've found through the years. And you talk about Cole Custer being diligent, learning about these road courses, understanding road racing. With only 2 Cup races, the Cup guys long many years ago, I'm not going to say the group that's in the garage area now, would just throw them away. I don't like road course racing, I don't care about it. And those guys wouldn't do well there. You would see the Ricky Rudds, you would see the Rusty Wallaces, you would see the Tim Richmonds, the guys like that would shine at places like that. Now everybody road races, and you've got to really focus on it. You've got to get a little better. But if you really enjoy it, and we've heard Dale Jr. say, road racing is not one of his favorite pastimes. The results show road racing is not one of his favorite pastimes. But when you see these young guys come in and say, I love this type of racing, mark that guy down, because he's going to be a force at some point in time.
Junior Motorsports, Michael Annett in the 5 on screen, really excited about this weekend and determined to do well. He said, I've had speed this year on occasion, but haven't capitalized on the opportunities thus far. So we'll see what this weekend yields. And just like that, we're under 20 minutes in this opening stage of qualifying for this afternoon's Zippo 200 here at the Glen. And the top 12 will go through to that second and final phase. Here's a man who's been making headlines.
Yeah, everywhere he goes, he's made headlines the second half of the year. And I mean, he goes to Indy and he says, I've never been to a race here, never really paid that much attention to a race here. I've just run it on iRacing. And he wins at Indy. And I laughed about it last week at Iowa when I sat and think about, here's a kid who still lives at home in his parents' house, and he's got a trophy from Daytona and a trophy from Indianapolis in that bedroom, which is just amazing to me. He has a tremendous talent and has shown great progress. Every series he runs in, he kind of cuts his way through it like a hot knife through butter. He gets it quick, he understands the racing quick, and he moves to the top of the list quick.
So yesterday, as we transition to the 19 of Matt Tifft, I just want to finish a point on William Byron. I was in the garage area yesterday, the Xfinity garage area yesterday, and Ron Fellows was in there, co-owner of Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Most sporters, us old fellas would say.
Yes, most sporters.
In Bowmanville, Ontario. And young William Byron came into the garage area and he saw Ron Fellows and his face lit up. Now, he's too young. He probably has just been told about the legend of Ron Fellows. But with that being said, he's built a close relationship with Ron because he's been out to the GM Enhancement Center, if you will, High Performance Center outside of Vegas. And he's one of the young guys that Ron has helped. And it was really lovely just to witness that show of respect.
Yes.
Hey, here you are. You're not racing anymore, and you're significantly older than me, but you've helped me be a better NASCAR racer.
And that is what is good about a lot of these young guys, but William Byron especially. He has so much respect. When you hear him talk about Jimmy Johnson, when you hear him talk to Jeff Gordon, when you hear him talk about what it means to be at Hendrick Motorsports and that part, it's not just, I'm pretty good at this, so they give me a shot at it. It's the respect of the history of that organization, and I think he understands that. And obviously, as you say, he shows it to Ron Fellows, which is well-deserved, because Ron Fellows was a great road racer.
All right, here's an interesting one for you. You've got Joey Logano and Team Penske teammate Brad Keselowski. Guys with the same equipment in the same team. Two completely different philosophies. Joey Logano likes to set his car up to get through the inner loop. Brad Keselowski likes to set his car up to get through the S's and through the carousel. What did you used to do?
Yeah, we honestly, and I was fortunate enough to run decent up here. We were all about getting through the S's wide open. If you could run flat-footed through the S's in those old cars, now remember, That's not these cars with all this downforce, okay? These things were on edge a little bit, and you can talk to Ricky about that. But if you could get up through the S's, pretty much flat-footed, then you could beat anybody around this racetrack. Getting up off the carousel was important too. But I looked at the carousel turn just as you look at any other cup corner. It's just a long sweeping corner. This one just happened to be right-handed and still left-handed.
So don't put yourself down, because I know you do this. You do this whenever we try and heap praise on you. But you're a winner here at the Glen. How did that feel?
You know, that was
good to conquer it.
You know what? That was a big day. Thank goodness it rained and shortened the race, or my tongue would have been, because it was hanging out at that time. But you know, Ernie Irvin and I had a great race. We would exchange the lead multiple times going into the bus stop up there. And I raced here. This tells you how long I raced here. I raced here before the bus stop, when you just ran flat out into the carousel, and that was a spooky proposition. I think they changed it obviously after some accidents, after Tommy Kendall, after some things happened up there. But it was a cool place then. It's still a cool place.
So Joey Logano sets the pace. You may have noticed Eric Jones in the 20 just jumped up into second. William Byron is third. Brendan Gaughan just loves this period of the year where there are 3 road courses in the next 4 races. Now, Bristol is in between now and Mid-Ohio, and then they head to the 4-mile monster, which is Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So Brendan Gaughan said August is the best month that NASCAR ever created.
Yeah, and for the Xfinity Series, if you like road racing, it is. And you throw Bristol in there, and Bristol really doesn't take you out of that road racing type of mentality, because you still got to be aggressive at a place like that. And you know, these are places, these 4 races, and I think Brendan says it for a lot of reasons, but these 4 races are races that drivers feel like they can make a difference. Driver, no matter what equipment they're driving, no matter what they're doing, they feel like I can go there and I can be worth 2 or 3 positions. I can help the team and I can help us do something. A lot of places, as a driver, you just feel like if you're not right when you get there, you're not going to get right. Here, you can't get right.
Roush Fenway's Ryan Reed on screen, and Ryan was the best regular Xfinity Series driver in this Cup-heavy field, with 8 Cup regulars competing in this afternoon's race. Now, there's some big names at the moment on the outside looking in. Elliott Sadler is one of them, of course, championship leader, but he's on his warm-up lap right now. So we'll monitor the 1 of Elliott Sadler and see what kind of progress he can make. Ryan Sieg in the 39 is on the cut line. He is the 12th and final one. Kevin Harvick, we'll wait and see what he can do in the 41. And time is running out really quickly here. Just under 14 minutes left in this opening segment. And let's enjoy this for a moment. Let's listen first, KP, and then you can give us some guidance on the foot cam inside the 41 of Kevin Harvick.
I love watching that. I love. You see, as he got to the bus stop, and you saw. Now remember, he's just gone out for a couple laps, but you see, right as he got to the bus stop, right as he got to come up off of the carousel to the next corner, he taps the brakes 2 or 3 times to make sure he's got pedal. That's just habit. That is absolutely just habit, because you do that as the pedal gets long, as the temperatures go up. But you do it with a cold brake pedal too, just to make sure there's something there. You saw through the carousel his left foot, how he would get onto the brake a little bit. He's just resetting the front end, moving the weight distribution in the car. Even though he's on the gas, he's tapping the brake just a little bit to reset the car. It's hard to explain to young drivers, and it's hard to explain to people that just drive on the highway. You drive with your hands, you drive with the seat of your pants, you drive with the accelerator, and you drive with the brake. You have multiple options on how to make a car turn, how to make a car steer, how to get a car around the racetrack. And you use all those options or all those tools to make it work. And you saw Kevin Harvick using every one of them right there.
Check out this lap from the 42 of Kyle Larson. This is going to be special.
I think everything Kyle Larson's done this year has been a little bit special, to be honest with you. But it seems like something has clicked with Kyle Larson as a driver. Everywhere he goes in this Cup car, everywhere he goes in the Xfinity car, he's been a factor. He has been a factor at every racetrack we've been to. This is a special lap. This is an incredible lap.
He is up by over a second now. That's not to Joey Logano, the pace setter at the moment. It's to 12th place Elliott Sadler. But watch this. The 42 is going to jump up significantly from that lap right to the top.
Down. Good. Good.
Wow.
The board there, 71.68.
Nice lap, Kyle Larson.
Very nice lap.
So that puts Kevin Harvick on the bubble at the moment, being the 12th driver with 11 minutes remaining in this session. Elliott Sadler and Brendan Gaughan have been pushed out of that top 12. And we have not yet seen the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Some of these guys just haven't gone out yet. As we watch Blake Cook here, this is a good lap by an Xfinity driver. You know, we're going to talk about Larson, Logano, Eric Jones, Kyle Busch. We're going to talk about these guys. But remember, we're getting ready to go to some other road courses where all these Cup guys, it's not going to be top-loaded. So if I'm an Xfinity driver and I'm in this race, I'm watching how these other Xfinity drivers, it's almost a race within a race. And you hate to say that, but Watkins Glen this week is almost like a race within a race. But I've got to go to these other places, and I've got to beat Blake Cook. I've got to beat William Byron. I've got to beat Justin Allgaier and these guys. So I need to see how they run and what their road course program looks like. And when we look at Blake Cook, when we look at Ryan Reed, when we look at some of these guys, there's some impressive laps that have been laid down by these guys.
Jeremy Clements currently 19th as he crosses the line. Was there any improvement there? There was, but not quite enough. He's up to 15th. And we just went from Blake Cook to Jeremy Clements, and you can talk about two stories there. Blake Cook is currently in the playoffs with 7 races to go in the Xfinity Series. Jeremy Clements is not, but he's one of those drivers where we were talking about before. That it's still wide open. There's still enough races to get yourself in as Kyle Busch is out on his warm-up lap. Larson, Logano, Keselowski, Jones, Reed, Allgaier, Brennan Poole, who, by the way, in this afternoon's race, the Zippo 200 here at the Glen will be carrying our NASCAR on NBC helmet cam. I've really enjoyed that this year, by the way.
I love the helmet cam. And the helmet cam is the closest thing that we've ever had to giving the viewers at home what the driver's seen. You see the driver so many times this year. We've had the helmet cam and an accident's happened, and you see the driver driving the car, look in the mirror, turn to the left to see where a car's at, being just aware of everything that's going around him. But you're seeing it through that camera, and it is incredible.
Monitoring Kyle's lap, and it goes green. Bottom right of your screen. So looking promising already for the 18. Only 8.5 minutes left of this opening segment. Qualifying for this afternoon's Zippo 200. Race 20 on the Xfinity Series calendar. Brandon Jones puts himself into the top 12. Nice lap there, good enough for 9th. And that displaces Kevin Harvick with time starting to run out.
Wow.
So let's see how good this lap is. First flyer for Kyle Busch. We asked the same question of Kyle Larson, and he went straight to the top. Where does the driver of the 18 go? He does the same. He mirrors it.
Good.
A 71.6, fastest lap of the session. 7.5 minutes remaining. Quick reminder that you can catch all the action of NASCAR on NBC with the NBC Sports app. Get closer with alternate camera angles, driver stats, and track information. You can download it now. Lighting it up out of turn 1, Matt Tifft in the 19 as we welcome you back to Xfinity Series qualifying here on your home of motorsport. Leigh Diffey along with Kyle Petty Dave Burns and Kelly Stavist working pit road at the moment. And KP, as we were talking in the break, there are some big names outside the top 12 at the moment with only 4.5 minutes remaining.
I think we thought there were, I thought there were 7 or 8 guys that were Cup guys that were in this thing. Paul Menard is a very underrated road racer. Has a lot of road racing experience. I thought he would be up in the top 12. Kevin Harvick. I mean, we saw Kevin at Sonoma win the race out there, win some races out there. So, I mean, I think when you look at it, these guys are bumped outside. Ty Dillon just gets bumped outside. So some of these Cup guys have their hands full with the Xfinity guys. So maybe it's not a Cup walk like I thought it was going to be a little bit.
Yeah, credit to the likes of Cole Custer and Ryan Reed and Justin Allgaier, Brennan Poole, Xfinity Series regulars in that top 12 at the moment. Matt Tifft just comes up 1 position shy in 13th. Improved his time and position, but can't quite leap into that top 12. 3.5 minutes left to play.
This is tough qualifying. It is hard to explain when you come out here. As we see Brendan Gaughan, he has to change his line. He's on a flyer, but he has to change his line to go around the car, the 07 car there. And that's obviously, it hurts his time. You want to get your perfect line. You want to run your perfect lap. And it's tough. And the thing is, there's so many corners here. You can make great time up through the S's and lose it all and more at the bus stop. You can make great time through the bus stop and pick up 2 tenths and lose it all coming up out of the carousel or coming up out of this final corner. All the car has to do is step out just a touch. So you've got to be on top of everything. This looks like a good lap for Gaughan, and he had a car in the way.
And remember, he is a road course race winner at Road America a couple of years ago. Yes, he's up into the top 12. Let's check in with Dave Burns. Dave?
Leigh, down on the grid with yesterday's winner. Yes, there was a race, the K&N Pro Series race here at the Glen, won by Will Rogers, 22-year-old from Solvang, California, running for the championship in the West, but coming out here to race in the East. And watching our monitor today, because Kevin Harvick has that foot cam. He's shadowing Harvick, who was a teammate of his out in Sonoma at the K&N race. And he says, I learned something out there watching Kevin in the Cup race on Sunday. Talk to Will here just a second. What was it like getting your first K&N win, putting it in victory lane here at Watkins Glen?
It was pretty incredible. For our first start on the East Series and to get our first win, it was just, it means absolutely everything to me. My JPR team and I have been working very hard this year to accomplish that, and we were able to pull it together yesterday.
What do you think you're picking up from Kevin? You watched the foot cam at Sonoma. You get to see it again a little bit today. Don't give away all his secrets.
Yeah, just picking up little subtle things, just the way he transitions from the speed, from the brake to the gas, and where he does it, how he does it. So it's little things like that that definitely help with my program in the West.
All right, again, won yesterday, sticking around today to see what he can learn, Leigh.
And you'll see that K&N Series race in the future here on NBCSN. I was really impressed with that guy yesterday, Kyle. He drove a terrific race, and he didn't lead the whole way, by the way. Ryan Truex did till a late race incident, but he played a very smart race here yesterday, and they actually moved the K&N race up because one heck of a thunderstorm rolled through here last night.
Yes, it did.
All right, Kevin Harvick in the 41. He was pushed outside the top 12. He's been relegated even further down to 20th. This lap is big with only 1 minute remaining.
Yeah, 1 minute remaining. And I'm going to say, you know, Menard, as we're watching Kevin Harvick, Menard jumps up to 4th. These guys that I thought would be in the top 12 are finding their way back. Daniel Hemrick, Ty Dillon jumped in. And Brendan Gaughan had a great lap. You cannot underestimate Brendan Gaughan's lap by having to pass a car right before the bus stop and still bump his way into the top 12. He's been bumped out. There's a lot of movement in this top 10 or 12 over this last minute and a half with 35 seconds to go.
Traffic staying out of the way. Ty Dillon, one of those in the 3 up to turn 6. Only 2 turns left for Kevin Harvick to push his way into this top 12 to advance to the next stage of qualifying. Justin Allgaier and Brennan Poole, who are 11th and 12th, they're on their next warm-up lap with seconds running out. Harvick to the line. How good is it? Good enough for 8th. And that'll do at the moment with the segment coming to a close. Justin Allgaier is in 12th. He is on that tightrope. Brennan Poole has been pushed out. And look who else. Let's go down the order. KP, Elliott Sadler is not in that top 12.
No.
Brendan Gaughan is not in that top 12. Brennan Poole on screen right now.
We're watching Brendan Poole and the 7 car, Justin Allgaier. I think these guys, they just barely, and you see right here, look at, man, Brendan Poole caught a car, and that's a bad place to catch a car right there. You want to go on in the corner, but that guy's on the inside of the bus stop there, and you can't. You see, this is really, really, he just hustled it getting into the carousel and then had to catch it in the middle, lost some time right there. But you see Justin Allgaier in front of him. Even though Justin is on the bubble right now, he's the 12th car, he needs this for security.
And that lap went away from Brennan Poole, just caught traffic at the wrong place. Meanwhile, Allgaier's going on with it. Justin is in that 12th and final position, and you can see where Brennan is. It's not going to work out for the driver of the 48. It will for the 7 of Justin Allgaier, who leapfrogs his way up to 6th. And Ryan Reed now holds that 12th and final position. What a shame for Brennan Poole. He will not advance to the next segment. There's your quick man in qualifying, Rowdy Bush. Bringing the whole family to a NASCAR race has never been easier or cheaper. Kids 12 and under are free for every Xfinity and Camping World Truck Series race on the schedule. Discounted tickets are also available for every Monster Energy Cup Series event. Simply visit NASCAR.com/KidsTix to learn more about free and discounted tickets for every event near you. And there's some kids here at the Glen enjoying their time at one of the best road courses anywhere you will find. So the opening segment of qualifying has been completed, and we've set the field. Kyle Petty from 13th down, but first of all, in that top 12, no great surprises. All Cup regulars through with 4 Xfinity Series regulars, but this is what the rest looks like.
Yeah, and this is when you look at Brendan Poole, when you look at Blake Cook, when you look at Brendan Gaughan, guys like that, those guys, you obviously are looking towards next week and the week after that to say this is the group that I'm going to be racing with. But there's some heavy hitters back here that have a shot, I think, strategy-wise, at playing a part in this race.
One young driver who came close is a race winner in the Xfinity Series. That's William Byron. He's with Dave.
And he negotiated all the turns and made 2 runs out there. What was your take from your laps out there, William?
The first run was better than the second. I kind of missed the carousel the second run, which messed up my lap, but I feel like overall I've been gaining on it a little bit. Just still have a lot of areas to improve, but these guys are working with me, and hopefully as we get racing, we can kind of get in a rhythm and be able to click some laps off. So just still learning, but thanks to all the guys at Junior Motorsports, brought a fast race car, and hopefully in the race we can keep improving.
Yeah, so preview that a little bit for us. It's a stacked field. What are your hopes for the afternoon?
I think just, probably just somewhere in the top 10. Hopefully be able to run up there with some of those guys and learn from them, and just not make any mistakes. Don't go off the track. Try not to miss any shifts or wheel hops. So if I can do that, I think it's going to teach me the most, and hopefully I can do that later this afternoon and have a good result.
Yeah, practice isn't bad, guys. We can't emphasize it enough. 3 road courses in the next month for this team.
Yeah, and it's
the whole group.
First road course in the Xfinity Series, Dave, and to qualify 15th, not too bad. Race later this afternoon, we'll see how William Byron does, and we'll have more qualifying from the Glen when we come back. A reminder, the Premier League returns Friday at 2:45 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. The first Friday night opener in the Premier League, and it's Arsenal against Leicester City. Then on Saturday, Premier League morning begins at 7 a.m. Eastern with Premier League Live, followed by Watford and Liverpool. The beautiful Ithaca Falls there. The weekend is all about the I Love New York 355 at the Glen. That's tomorrow. Today, though, Kelly, we're talking Xfinity Series.
And Brendan Poole, who just missed out on qualifying for that final round of qualifying, I should say, Brendan, looked unlucky. Looked like you caught a slow car just at the wrong point. If not for that, do you feel confident you would be in this next group?
Yeah, I think we had the speed to do it for sure. Brandon Jones was on his cool-down lap, and I just caught him like right entering the bus stop. So I don't know if he could have stopped a little bit and maybe gave us a little bit more room right there, but it's just kind of part of it. We're all jammed in there trying to get a lap in in the closing moment. So had we been a little bit quicker early, maybe we wouldn't have had a rerun. But our car's fast and it drove good, so I feel like we had the speed to be in it. But we had good long-run speed yesterday, so I'm excited to see what we can do in the race.
With so many of the Cup stars in today's race, what kind of an expectation can you have for your team?
Well, I just want to get up there and mix it up with those guys and learn from them all day and get better as the race goes on and try to put ourselves in a position at the end to mix it up with them and try to make something happen. I think you're going to see a lot of different strategies with these stage points. It just kind of depends on how the race is going for us and where we're at as the race goes on, and we'll try to put our DC Solar Camaro up front.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll be following him along, Lee. You know, he's got that helmet cam, so he'll be giving us that very cool perspective. It's attached, of course, to his very cool Luke Skywalker-themed helmet there.
And our technical partners, BSI, have done a great job with that, fitting it on the vise there on the peak. And Brennan's going to give us some really cool images this afternoon. Over 82 laps around the Glen in the Zippo 200. Isn't that just beautiful? This area of upstate New York is so scenic. And this time of the year, it's just beautiful. As we welcome you back here on NBCSN, Watkins Glen for NASCAR Xfinity Series qualifying. And we're going to determine, Kyle Petty, the pole sitter. Will it be this man?
I wouldn't bet against him. After watching the Xfinity Series this year, I would not. But obviously, we're down to 12. 12 really strong guys, mostly 7 or 8 of them are Cup guys. We've got Cole Custard and Ryan Reed. We've got 2 or 3 guys that are intermingled. Justin Allgaier that have a shot at it. But I'm telling you, these Cup guys are tough here. They come up here, they know what the Cup cars do. They've had a little bit extra practice, and they're running this race, obviously, because this race, the Cup race, is important to them. They need those points too. All these guys that are in this are fighting to stay, keep that playoff berth.
For the most recent Monster Energy Cup Series winner, Kyle Busch on screen, synonymous with success and winning. You know, one of the strange things is with Kyle, he's never had a pole on a road course, and he's never won in Xfinity Series competition here at Watkins Glen. So in Xfinity Series competition, no poles on a road course and not a win here. That might change today. Given his pace that he's shown so far.
Yeah, it changed last week at Pocono. He had never won there either. So sometimes it seems like all you have to do with Kyle Busch is say he's never done this, and he goes out
and he does it, yeah.
Because he is that impressive. But you know, it's not. Don't inscribe his name on the trophy. We've got Joey Logano, who's won 2 in a row here, or won the last couple here, and I said it before. Paul Menard, I think, is a little bit of a sleeper. People don't think about him and his road racing ability, but I think he's a guy that can jump in there too.
Remember what we told you at the top of the broadcast as Kyle Busch sets the pace. If Joey Logano, on screen now, can win the pole and then go on and win the race, have there been 3-time race winners here? Of course there have. Marcus Ambrose was the most recent, 3 in a row. But nobody has ever won an Xfinity Series competition from the pole 3 times in a row.
Impressive lap by Logano, though. Yep. To jump ahead of Kyle Busch as we watched Kyle's lap. He's about a 10th better than Kyle's lap, which was an impressive lap by Joey Logano. Kyle
Larson slots into 3rd with that lap right there. How is this going to shake out over the next 6 3/4 minutes? By the way, an update on the closing moments of segment number 1, and Kelly spoke with Brennan Poole and spoke about coming into the inner loop and catching traffic. It was the 33 of Brandon Jones, and as a result, for impeding Brennan Poole's progress in that session, Brandon lost his quickest lap in the session.
And you know, NASCAR started that with this type of qualifying. When everyone's out there at the same time, you know, you're trying to get your best lap, but you can mess up another guy's lap. And when you mess up that other guy's lap, NASCAR chose to say you lose your best lap. So you hate that for Jones, but at the same time, that's the way the rule was. And we saw it right as you go into the bus stop, as we're watching Kyle Larson on his lap here. The one thing about this type of qualifying, especially in this 10-minute session here, if you go early, you may have an opportunity to cool and go again, but it's so long around this racetrack to get back to the green flag. it's a tough place to reorganize.
So it sounds easy, but is it more difficult than it seems to stay out of the way?
It is hard to stay out of the way. You know, we talk about it all the time, and it's hard at a place like this. You just about have to check your mirror the whole time, and if you see a guy coming, just pull over and all but stop and get out of his way. It is, you know, you can go out and run a flyer at a 60-second lap or a 71-second lap, whatever it is, and then it takes you 4 minutes to get back in because you're trying to stay out of people's way.
Just as I say this, it'll probably happen, but you know what we haven't seen so far today, particularly in qualifying, is somebody blow the inner loop, blow the bus stop.
True that.
Which is typical here at Watkins Glen.
Very typical, and with what we saw in Cup practice and what we've seen in some of these practices, these guys spinning, the cars getting free and being a little loose and wheel hopping and stuff, that's the one place you begin to see it a lot of times is you'll get to the inner loop, you just press your luck about 15, 20 feet farther, the car begins to wheel out, and we see Ryan Reed all the way over, out of the way. That's the proper thing to do. Get all the way over and out of the way.
Justin Allgaier, do you feel for him with what happened in Pocono last week? There was a strategy call that could have gone his way, but in the end, it didn't.
You know, you feel for him because, but it's a strategy call. And here's the thing, he's already got a win, so it doesn't make any difference. You know what, he's already got a win, so when you have that win and you have that in the bank, you can gamble. And you feel for them because they don't get the trophy. But at the same time, you think, good call. Way to be gutsy, way to put it out there on the line. And I agreed with the call they made, even though it didn't work. I'm telling you, I thought it would. If things had played right, they would have looked like the hero.
While we watch Allgaier in the 7, Kevin Harvick, I can tell you, is on his warm-up lap. 3:45 left to play in this final stage of qualifying to determine the pole sitter for this afternoon's Zippo 200 here at the Glen. And the weather is starting to come around. It's starting to come our way. It was pretty dark and gloomy and cold earlier. The wind, it's still there. It's still pretty present. And it's a tailwind down the front straight into turn 1, which doesn't help that wheel hopping either.
No, it doesn't help it. But if we're going to talk weather, I love this weather. This is the perfect weather. We've been some places where it's been really hot. It's been hot on the drivers. We've seen these drivers. We saw Casey Kane get out at Indianapolis totally exhausted from the heat, the length of the race. For this place, this is the perfect weather for what these drivers have to do as much as they have to work in these cars.
Justin Allgaier to the line inside the final 3 minutes. How was it for the 7? Up to position 7. Here's Kevin Harvick now. We told you that he was on his warm-up lap before. Let's see what the driver of the 41 has.
Again, we see him pump that brake just a little bit. We'll look at that left foot. Watch him, see that double pump right there, just to make sure the pedal's there. He goes back to the gas a little bit, then full up off. Just driving it with his feet.
So Harvick was able to jump 2 positions to 10th. Joey Logano still sets the pace.
Hey, Lee.
Dave?
Kevin said he was dead sideways in the carousel, and that's what really cost him time on that lap.
Oh, wow. So maybe a good save then.
Yeah.
A great save.
Yeah, we didn't see that part of it. But we've talked about that. It's such a big racetrack. It's such a large racetrack. You get into one, you go up through the S's, and you think, man, I'm ahead of where I need to be. You get to the carousel, or you get to the bus stop, and you throw it all away. Or you get through the bus stop and you think, I'm up on my best lap, on my personal record, on my PR here. And then you throw it all away coming up off the carousel. There's so many places to gain time here, but there's the equal amount of places to lose time.
So this story about Joey Logano is starting to take shape. The driver of the 12 for Team Penske has the provisional pole. There's less than a minute and a half remaining. Paul Menard's done a nice job, by the way. He's provisionally on the 2nd row. 4th quickest time, and he's on a warm-up lap here, Dave.
And given all the information, what the pole speed currently was and where he stood, Paul said, well, I don't know if we should go back out or not. And then he was told that the tires are definitely picking up as the runs continue. And so Paul kind of thought about it. He said, well, let's give it a try. Here he goes.
By the way, you'll hear a lot of people, if you've never been to the Glen, one of the big talking points, Kyle, is about speed for a road course, just how brutally fast this is. You look at Joey Logano's provisional pole time, it's an average lap speed of 124 miles an hour.
This, you know, we talk about the Glen. The Glen is a speed road course. It's a fast road course. It's not, when we talk about Sonoma, it's not the other road course that we run. It's a little bit more technical out there. This was as close. We came off this series, the Cup Series, or NASCAR, came away from Riverside when we first started running. Whoa. You see that thing step out right there on that right-hander a little bit. But, you know, and Riverside was a flat speed road course. So this was the perfect place for the Cup guys to come when we first started. They've gotten a lot more technical. The cars have gotten a lot more technical. We can run the Road Americas. We can run different places with the Xfinity cars. And it's been exciting to watch those guys go through the process. But this track continues to get faster and faster every time these cars come.
Oh, and boy, that was a fast old slide for Paul Menard. That was cool to watch, but it may not have been so cool inside the cockpit of the two. Time is up in this final round of qualifying as Paul Menard comes out of turn 6. That's where Jeff Burton will be posted today in our round the track coverage with Mike Bagley, Parker Kligerman, and Menard to the line. He started this lap in 4th position and stays. And that man there, Joey Logano, says thank you, great job, I've got the pole. And part 1 of this history-making story is complete. Can that man there get the win today from the pole position for the 3rd year in succession? And let's hear from him now.
And you can only hope that the 3rd pole in a row leads to the 3rd day's end result that you've had the last couple of years. What do you think of that?
That's a good start for our Snap-on Mustang. That was a good run. Our car's got a lot of speed. I showed it in practice yesterday, and it was nice to be able to show it again here in qualifying. So long race ahead of us. A lot of things can happen, but we got a car that's capable of doing it as long as we just execute our plan.
Yeah, on plan so far. Talk to us a little bit about this weekend. It's crucial for you on Sunday. How much does today matter in terms of prep for that?
Today definitely helps for Sunday for a lot of reasons. A little confidence booster right now is not a bad thing, and you know, anytime you get more laps on a road course is good for the driver and everyone, even the pit crew, to get used to these pit stops that are going, you know, backwards the other way around the car. So you know, it's just good to get experience and kind of knock the rust off the road course stuff.
Love the honesty, Lee. He's been down, but they're definitely not out.
And as Steve Letarte mentioned, this is a must-win weekend in Cup Series competition, and utilizing the Xfinity Series race this afternoon to help him in that mission. Joey gives Ford its 3rd pole of the year and gives himself the best shot of winning. Interesting looking top half. Got to say, well done to the Xfinity Series regulars like Daniel Hemrick.
Yeah, great run by Daniel Hemrick. Great run by Justin Allgaier. We see Cole Custer top this 2nd list here. These 3 guys, remember, they've got a couple more road courses coming up. So if I'm an Xfinity guys looking at these guys, I'm going to say, okay, they're going to be tough as we move on.
I think the points leader, Elliott Sadler, will be a little bit frustrated being back there starting on the 10th row. What can William Byron do? He's starting from 15th as we get deeper into this field. And then you've got the likes of Brendan Gaughan. So he's working his way from 16th. I can't wait for this race this afternoon.
It's going to be a great race. And you know, these guys always put on a good show. And I'm telling you, strategy is so important in these races.
Well, let's take a look at the rest of the schedule coming up here from the Glen. NASCAR America is coming up next with Rutledge Wood and Dale Jarrett, followed by Monster Energy Cup Series practice at the bottom of the hour at 12:30, and then the Xfinity Series will race a little later. Coverage begins at 1:30 p.m. with Countdown to Green on a great weekend, a festive weekend here at Watkins Glen.